Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for hanging out with me today on Friday. As you can see, Jenna's not here today, but that's okay. It's me. And really, at this point, I have the link in the chat. Anyone who wants to jump on here and just hang out for a couple hours and talk shop, talk eBay, talk reselling, whatever, come on, use the link that's in the chat. And, you can join the conversation here rather than just being in the sidebar chat, which of course we always recognize anyway. So either way, come and join me. I think Beard might come and hang out with us too when he gets back home. So the topic of the day and something I want you guys to really think about is the feedback system. Now, I don't know if you guys read, I think it was both reported on e-commerce bites and value added resource, that eBay is doing some tinkering. And of course, they always seem to choose like UK. They pick on our friends in the UK or maybe sometimes Australia. But in this case, it's UK. And they're taking sellers who have less than 10 feedback. I think it's 10 feedback or less. And if a buyer has not left feedback 7 days after they receive the item, eBay is putting in a really generic feedback on behalf of the buyer. And I don't know what you guys think of that, but the idea that they'd say something like, where is it at? The seller successfully completed the order. And that's it. It really seems kind of out of touch. But I mean, what do you guys think of leaving automatic feedback for buyers there's a lot of buyers who don't bother? And those are really, to be honest with you, my favorite feedback. I would rather not get feedback than to get, feedback all over the map. But I think eBay is trying to boost those new sellers up a little bit. I've always thought it's best to try to build up your account on an account you're planning on selling, of course, buying 99-cent items or whatever, to get that feedback built up. But this is eBay's way of kind of helping you out. Now, is that going to be pushed over to the US or other markets? I don't know. But I do know that they test things out to see how things are. Now, this kind of leads me to another bigger discussion, and that is the feedback system in itself. There's been a lot of changes over the last 15 years to feedback since, it used to be that sellers were allowed to leave buyers negative feedback. And I know that many of you are going to say, I wish that sellers can leave negative feedback, but that's probably the one answer I don't want to hear, because it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. And the reason is, and it's hard for a lot of people to fathom why, unless you were actually selling back in the day, there was just some nasty feedback left for buyers. And it was almost always retaliatory. So if a buyer got something that had a rip in it, they messaged the seller didn't see the message or just chose not to get back to the buyer. Buyer would leave a negative feedback or whatever, and the seller would go in and just say something nasty about the buyer. And there was some instances where it was really bad, and not anything worth repeating here, but just use your imagination. So that's why eBay's never going to go back to that. Okay. And, I would say that it's not a path we want to go down, where it's not worth leaving a negative feedback for a buyer with the risk that eBay would shut down your account because you said the wrong thing. And there are people, they involve their feelings in their business, unfortunately. And if some buyer, hurts their feelings, they're going to retaliate with some nasty words of their own. And it's just not worth having that feature. But the idea of, building your feedback count with buyers who don't bother, and I would say it's probably like 50% of the buyers who don't bother leaving any kind of feedback. I think it helps build up your status a little bit, right? What other changes could we talk about, though? I mean, can we talk about maybe the idea, if you have certain things that you have set up within your account, like maybe free returns or free shipping. I don't know about free shipping, but more so free returns. the buyer can't leave you negative feedback unless they go through these steps, including sending the item back. And maybe not even then they should be able to leave you negative feedback. But I'd like to see eBay implement something like that, to where if you are top rated seller status and have these things enabled within your listings, then eBay is going to protect you. Because as a seller, you know what, mistakes happen. eBay should realize that things are going to happen in a transaction. And if you are legitimately trying to make things right for the buyer, they should not leave you holding the bag. They should have your back. And that type of treatment from a buyer should only be allowed if you deserve it. If you're a seller that doesn't respond, if you're a seller that really doesn't want to, maybe you have no returns selected and you just don't care, you just don't care about your buyer and your actions are obvious, then that should stick, right? Because eBay wants, the whole idea of it is eBay wants to have a system in place to help buyers make an informed decision if they want to do business with this particular seller. And if you have bad metrics and bad feedback, then it's eBay's way of protecting the buyer. So I don't know. And I know there's sellers saying, well, what about protecting us from the bad buyers that, try to scam and do this and that and the other thing? I get it. But one thing you have to realize as a seller is that we are on a different standard. And it may not seem fair, but buyers are given more leniency because eBay, let's face it, eBay needs more buyers than they do sellers, because without the buyers, sellers won't sell on the platform because they're not going to be anything more than a bonanza at that point. So want to know your thoughts on this, and maybe some things I didn't cover here, but what would you do to change the feedback system? And I want to know how you feel about the current feedback system right then and there. So what else is going on? Not a whole lot. Hopefully you guys had a good holiday, 4th of July holiday. I had Biscuit Butt Archie over. I built my master built. The thing came to me from Amazon Wednesday afternoon. I, of course, dreaded the idea of having to assemble this thing because it was a 5-hour task. But I got it, and I noticed that one or two of the parts had a slight dent in it. And I was irritated by it, but you know what? I was going to make it work. And while things didn't all line up perfectly, the smoker looks great, and it is much better than my other one. And we had a good 4th of July nonetheless. Jenna, as you guys know, she's with her family at the ocean at a resort, and they're soaking up the sun, 75-degree heat. And here it's 111 as I speak. It's hot out here, guys. So sales for me, though, generally speaking, have been good if you don't consider Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday, about $286 down day. And then yesterday was $100, $101. And that was the one sale that I made. And guess what I sold, guys? I sold a toilet seat. Now I sold 2 orange toilet seats. And here I am. I'm on the road to being toilet seat free, guys. So hopefully in the next few months, you'll see the stack dwindling down. Now, these are the teal ones. So the orange ones are in the garage. So they've yet to buy a teal orange toilet seat for me, just the orange. What do we have with us here? Who do we have with us here? Josh Galt says, hello from Yosemite Valley. Josh has never been to Yosemite, and I'm sure he is just absolutely loving Yosemite right now. It is one of my favorite places. It is absolutely beautiful there. Beard says, I'm at Costco with a nail in my tire. Wow. Nothing like having a nail in your tire. That sucks. That kind of kills your day. Mad Hatter Boutique. Hello from my house in the OC. Josh, you're coming down to SoCal. If you want to meet up for a meal, I'm happy to do so. Yeah, he's staying in the northern part of California, Sierra Nevadas, and I tried to get him out to Vegas. He says he's coming out to Vegas here pretty soon, but not on this trip. Mad Hatter's got my brand trademark approved on Amazon finally, and about to list my first listing on Amazon. Hello to a new market and a new adventure in selling. I think you're going to kill it on Amazon. You're already doing great on eBay, and just imagine the traffic that you have on eBay and multiply that by 10. And that's what you're going to see. Coppercat, hello from Arkansas. Hope everyone had a good 4th. It was a war zone here last night. My dogs were freaking out. We have a park across the street behind our house. So people go over there with their illegal fireworks and they're launching them. And these are like stadium quality, fireworks show quality fireworks. And they are loud and they are pretty awesome to see. But they went nuts from like the moment it started getting dark, like 8:30 until about 11:30 at night. And it was nonstop. Brenda Smith says, happy Friday, everyone. Knitting winter hats for local charities while I listen. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I have this link here, guys. Anybody wants to jump on here with me? Beard's going to jump on a little bit later. But if you want to jump on and hang out and talk shop, use this link here in the chat and we will talk. Biscuit Butt says, what's up, FAE? And I think he enjoyed the barbecue, took some home, but man, what a difference between having a pellet smoker and one of these offset charcoal grills. Wow. I can't even tell you how much better it is. It's so much better. Mad Hatter, Jovial Juggler says, Mad Hatter Boutique says, she says, congratulations. So quite awesome that you are now selling on Amazon. I think you're going to see your business explode. Mark Suddick says, high sales have been insane to this past week. I hope it keeps going on like this. My sales returned today, though. I'm at 528 as of about 1 o'clock. I haven't had a sale since, but when I woke up this morning, I had a lot of offers, and we're back on track. So I'm convinced that it had a lot to do, or if not all to do, with the holiday in the middle of the week there. Ping says, hello, John, in the chat. Thanks for being here, Ping. And we have Kevin Hawthorne in an undisclosed location, says, good evening. Thanks for being here, Kevin. Always here. Appreciate to see you. Chastity's with us, says, hello, all. And Jackie Bleckner says, hi, John, in chat. How you doing, Jackie? We got Callie Debs. Hi, John, in chat. Happy Friday. Dark Horse is with us, says, like the video. I got my sale just before the show. Hit that like button. Get your sale within the next 24 hours. I don't know how or why it works. I mean, it's something we've been doing forever, but people absolutely swear by it. Mad Hatter says, I asked my trademark lawyer on patents. She said they start at $5,000 and go up by complexity. She does not do it, but can refer someone if you're interested. And I know you could get some lawyers that are actually a little bit less than that. When I looked into it, now this is what, 2.5 years ago, I looked into the Flippin' Ain't Easy patent, and it was about $2,000. So it just really depends on who you're dealing with as well. Yvette Clay says, hey, from Long Island, New York. How you doing, Yvette? They had the Coney Island. I think Coney Island's out at Long Island, isn't it? Or it's near Long Island. They had the hot dog eating championship, and I think they have a new champion, right? It's no longer, what is his name? Joey Chestnut. It's somebody else. Diamond Roy says, I've been getting a few sales here and there. Even though I haven't listed in about a week, I definitely need to get listing. Now, I'm kind of glad you mentioned that, because you guys know my secondary account just doesn't get the love that it needs. And the last couple of days, I think Friday evening I listed, and last night I got a couple listings. I got some of those jerseys up and a couple other items. Wouldn't you know it, on 4th of July, got a sale. Today, this morning, woke up to a sale. And before that, it was just nothing. So activity really does help you get some more, I'd say, push within the algorithm. And it makes sense, because eBay wants you to be involved in the daily grind of your business. If you're not focusing on even logging into your account, how do you even know you have a message? How are you going to give customer service to items that either are for sale or you've already sold? And I think that is really important to eBay. Silverhair says, good evening to one and all. Yes, even those that use cereal boxes to ship. Yeah, don't use cereal boxes to ship. Right, Jovial? And if you're shipping in a container like this, it's probably not going to work. Now, thankfully, This is an actual real box, and this is not a cereal box. She just taped all this stuff on here. So when she shipped the toilet seat, it got here in good condition. But toilet seats are kind of made to hold up a little bit better than, say, knickknacks and things. I don't care how much bubble wrap you throw inside that box. If it's not made for shipping, it's probably not going to work. Mike Gertis says, good evening. Hit 100 today, 110 heat index. Yep, it is summer. And you know what? They said for Vegas that the month of June was the hottest month of June on record in this 2024 year. So it tells me that July and August are probably going to be right up there as well. And it's one of those things where it really wipes me out because I'm out in the garage in that unit that I have out in the garage. I know I'm supposed to get a $1,000 to $2,000 unit. I was talking to Grumpy John about it, and it's like, you know what? I'll just put up with it. I will deal with it and work through it, but it does drain you. You're out in like an oven out there working. Mike says, hi, John and chat. I hope everyone is doing well. My sales have been steady lately. Just bought 11 boxes to P.O. Box, brought 11 boxes to a P.O. Box from Wednesday night and yesterday. Yvette Clay says, your mountain of boxes have grown. No, they haven't grown. It's just the Leaning Tower of Pisa. They haven't grown at all. It's hopefully going to shrink here pretty soon as people need toilet seats. Major Wins with us says, glad you hung up Jovial's gift. We absolutely love that gift. And, hopefully it's prominent enough. What I'd like to do is extend it by opening it up so you can actually see the other stuff on the toilet seat. But I want to get the right kind of stand, or not stand, but holder for it on the wall. And I just haven't picked one up. Who else do we have? We have a lot of folks here. We have 95 people watching us, so thanks for being here with us. Bear with me here. Got to catch up. When I change screens, it totally changes me here. Jerry Johnson's with us. Says, hi, everyone. I've been dealing with bronchitis for a week now. Still waiting for my energy to come back. Well, darn it, I hope you get better. And thank you for, regardless of how you feel, that you're here with us hanging out. So, thank you. Just relax. Business will, hopefully you're not working on your eBay account. You're trying to get better. And business will return when you get back. So don't be like me and feel like, wow, I can't be sick. I got to, even though I do get sick once in a while, I'm out there working. Don't be like that. Minnie Duke says, get rid of feedback, get rid of sellers with too many defects, adopt Amazon seller standards. Now that is restrictive though. And I do understand where you're coming from. We do want the bad sellers off of the platform. I've really said this many times, and I do feel this way, that bad sellers hurt each and every one of us. Even though you may never, be involved in a bad interaction with the buyer, that buyer takes that with them. And now they're going to try to buy again. Let's hope they do come back to the platform. They try to come back to eBay and buy again. And that bad experience is on the back of their mind. And they are wondering, is this going to be just like the last time? And I know how it feels because I've had that experience. And I'm a seller on the platform. And I've had that thought when I bought again after having the bad experience. And we don't want that, okay? Buyers are left to be sort of on the defensive. Now they interact with you. They're expecting the same bad experience. We wonder why they start off the conversation with an attitude. And it's makes sense to me now why they, come off strong when they first message you. A lot of times like, wow, man, why are you kind of, save the attitude for someone else? I haven't done anything to you. But you got to understand where buyers are coming from. And yeah, buyers are jerks, but I think, some buyers are jerks, but I think sometimes we kind of create that mindset, and we can do better collectively, and eBay can do better by getting rid of these bad sellers. And, maybe you have to, maybe if you're below standard, or if you're below standard for such maybe a 6-month period and can't get yourself out of below standard, maybe they should just cut ties. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. There's a lot of, I'm sure eBay is looking at it as well, but the feedback system in its current state is broken and they need to do something with it. Double R says add another column under negative that says orders delivered, and every order delivered you get +1. I'm not a big seller, but I get around 30% feedback left for me per 10 orders shipped. Okay. And you might be right. I was saying 50%, but you might be 30% might be the more realistic number. I know that I've sold thousands of items on my main account, and I'm looking at it. I'm at just under, I'm at what, 5,100 is where I'm at. 5,191 is where I'm at on my feedback number. And I've sold a lot more than that over the life of this account. One other thing I want you guys to understand as well is that eBay pays close attention to the detailed seller ratings. Okay. So, and this is the thing that I change also about feedback. When a buyer leaves you feedback, whether it's positive or negative or neutral, we don't get to see what they selected for us. Then there's 4 categories: accurate description, shipping speed, reasonable shipping cost, and communication. Okay. So the buyer is asked to grade you on a 1 to 5 star scale for each of those categories. And when they leave you a negative, neutral, or positive, you get to see the remark, but you don't get to see the grading that they left for you. And that's big to me, because when you're going to dispute a feedback that you believe is not fair, eBay is highly considering the marks that the buyer has left for you in each of those categories. And if the buyer has left you a low mark in any one of those 4, and this is what the rep told me, they are more than likely going to deny the removal request, even though it's an obvious removal. That supports your argument. So look, buyers are going to be mad. They're going to leave negative feedback. Why would they leave you 5 stars? It doesn't make sense why they would give you good ratings on the stars, but give you negative feedback on your feedback. So for me, it's still a broken system, because they did come out, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and stated that there's 12 different things that they're going to be looking to remove. But I had one that was legitimate to be removed. This person left me a negative saying canceled payment for item. It was delivered. What should I do with it? Well, what did I do wrong there? Now, I never got a cancellation request from the buyer. They never reached out to me. So I don't know what and it's a she, I don't know what she thought she was doing, but I didn't receive anything. I shipped it out in a timely manner. It got there. The tracking number supports that. And she's asking a question: what should I do with it? That was more than likely a message that the buyer should have sent me, and not negative feedback, but they wouldn't remove it. So, and the reason they cited was not what they said, but the fact that they gave me a 1-star rating on my reasonable shipping cost metric. Major Win, like we said earlier, is here with us. Hi, all, just arriving. Great to see you all. The eBay Grind Grandma says, hi, John. Nice to catch a show. Well, nice to see you here, eBay Grind Grandma. Biscuit Butt says, best cook in the world. I got to tell you, I mean, I was absolutely enjoying the barbecue yesterday. There's just something about having that charcoal flavor in your food when you haven't had it. Just dealing with a pellet grill. This is not a cooking channel, but man, we all have to eat. And I can tell you, if you like barbecue, these gravity-fed smokers are the way to go. I'm just telling you that. Larry Todd's negative and neutral feedback should be changed to a 90-day expiration. A year of bad hanging over is just too long. Yeah, or maybe just split the difference. Let's say 6 months. Instead of 12 months, let's just make it 6 months. And, if you're a seller that continually does things that you shouldn't be doing, then they should kind of do like the Bureau system. You get warned, you get warned, you get warned. And then it's a short suspension, a longer suspension, then just see it, get out of here. Because and nobody wants to see sellers get thrown off the site. But I'm telling you guys, one customer doesn't belong to one seller. One customer belongs to all of us. And we should want these customers to have good experiences, because they will leave. They'll go to these other. So that's the thing that eBay has now that they never had before. And that is real competition through Mercari, Poshmark, Depop, Etsy, Grailed. I mean, all the other sites. I guess we can include Bonanza in there too. People have options. They have choices. And if they have bad experiences, multiple bad experiences, they can go somewhere else. Victor says 30 days after delivery, and if the buyer hasn't listed feedback, eBay posts feedback automatically. I think I like that. Let's see. Biscuit Butt wants to know if Josh is heading towards Vegas. No, he's not. Next time he will. Mike Gertis says, dang, my lowest price on orange toilet seats still couldn't stop buyers from buying yours. Must be because I'm not paying ad fees. Yeah, I think I'm at like 8% on these toilet seats. And we'll see. I'm down to 8 out of 10. And then I have the 60 teal toilet seats. So if these don't move, my next move is to lower them down to about $49.99. They are at 67 and change. And look, I ship to the East Coast. I think I paid $26 to ship because it's free shipping on those. I'm still making like 3x. So yeah, bad buy, but I'm going to make a little bit off of it. Juan Garcia says, happy Friday, listing and listening. Awesome. Thanks to you for being here. We have 106 people, and I expected to have less people watching today because of the holiday. There's not a whole lot of content being released, though, today. Everyone seems to be either working to make up for taking yesterday off, or they're still out on vacation and enjoying time away. Biscuit Butt says, Jovial, get up on the link. Yeah, come on up, Jovial. Come on and hang out with us. Victor Wawiorka says, coming to the Sphere to see Dead and Company in August. You're going to love it. That Sphere is absolutely amazing. It's just as cool inside than it is outside. eBay Grind Grandma, sales were great last week. Soon as I did a coupon sale, it died. So I ended my sale and got 3 sales a day. That's crazy. It's almost like, because I know coupons work. They do work. I mean, now, I don't know if you did a private or a public, but if you do a public where it's actually in the listing, those do work. And what you describe almost feels like there's like an adjustment period. So it's maybe recataloging your listings, and they're not getting as much exposure, but it shouldn't take that long. Not really ever seen that. Now, this last Sunday, my sale ended. My markdown sale ended. And guess what I forgot to do? I forgot to renew my markdown sale. I have them scheduled 6 months out, and I've let them go so long that was my last markdown sale. So Monday, I had great sales, and then I noticed that I didn't have the sale running. Tuesday, I got it back going, but it did take about a good solid day for the sales to kick back in. And I have all my sales mapped out. They go for 2 weeks at a time, and they're mapped out through the end of the year. Mike Seller says, thank God it's Friday, John and Flippers. See, Friday to me is like every other day. It all meshes together. I went today and picked up yet another pallet, guys. So I have room in my garage because I've been listing and getting things moved from the staging area to the listing area to the appropriate shelves that they go on once they're listed. But now I have a carload of merchandise that I need to take. I still have them out there in this hot heat, but I don't think it's going to hurt anything. A bunch of Roomba vacuums, some of the Roomba S9 pluses. So my hope is that they're not shot and in wasted condition like the other Roombas were. And just about as making as much money as you can off of these pallets. That's my goal. DM Ephemera says, just wanted to say hi. Picking blueberries, 50 quarts in the freezer already. If it wasn't so hot, man, I'd be out and about myself. Susan Phelps says, y'all give this post a thumbs up. I just watched another seller and gave a thumbs up in 2 items within five minutes from that time, within 5 minutes apart. Not sure if it's a fluke. I'll take it. So you sold 2 items within 5 minutes. That's awesome. I can use a sale here. I haven't had one since late this morning, even though I'm at my goal. So I have a $500 a day goal. You know what? Sales started off so great this morning. I'm hopeful that we can get a couple $100 more by the end of the evening. Susan Phelps says, I have also got a sale from Flippin' Ain't Easy, as well as the other day doing the same thing. Hitting that like button, guys. There's just something about putting it out there, that karma out there. JRKR 1964 says, sales horrible yesterday and not much better today, unfortunately. And maybe I hope it doesn't happen, but maybe it'll be this way through Sunday because people are out and about. Maybe. Just depends on, a lot of it depends on what you're selling too. I notice a lot of the things that I'm selling are need things, a couple Roomba accessories, and I sold that orange toilet seat. So someone needed an orange toilet seat. Let's see, kind of share with you what I'm selling here. I have sold a DeWalt framing nailer gun. I sold a Samsung refrigerator ice auger motor. So nothing like being in the summertime without any ice being made in your fridge. A Ready Hot instant water dispenser with the faucet. So that was a pretty good sale. So just things like that, things that people need. And it's my formula. It works. Jovial Juggler says it's a Swamp Billy fest down here on the 4th and into the weekend. I bet. There's something about the 4th of July, though. The picnics and going to the beach or going to the lake or going to the river. It's something about just that vibe that I remember, throughout my life being one of the better holidays, better than Memorial and Labor Day, I think. Duncan VR says, hi, John, and I've managed to get my stuff seen on the first pages of Best Match. This seems to be helping with sales. Got my listings up to 235 last night, but more sold overnight. So you're playing tug of war with eBay. You're in the same boat as I am. I'm up at 200 items as we speak, and I'm fine with that, even though I'd like to get up to 300 to 400, but I'm going to do it with the same kind of items. I'm not going to cheat. I'm not going to just throw $5 and $10 items up there so I can say I got to a certain count. Semper Fi's with us, is in the house. Good weekend sales, waiting for more. And Susan says, I'm in the area about to possibly get hit by Hurricane Beryl. What do you do about shipping and delays, vacation mode, or what? I would say, Susan, it might be a good idea to change your shipping policies to 5-day handling. And of course, you're going to still get sales. And if someone asks you, why is it taking so long to ship? You might want to tell them that, there's a hurricane in the area and you're just taking precautions. But I don't know if I would actually do that until you really have a good idea that it's going to come close to your area and then make those adjustments. I personally don't use vacation mode. I feel like when you use vacation mode, it does take a solid day or two to get the sales going again. And I'd rather just, take a little hit in my search rank in the algorithm for having 3 to 5 days handling than to be in vacation mode. Diamond Roy says, on the bright side, I organized all of my unlisted inventory on my day off from my full-time job. This way it will be much easier to find and list my items. I definitely know where you're coming from on that. It's too hot in the garage for me to do that right now, even at night. I wait till nighttime. I was out in that garage last night. I had the garage door open, listening to the fireworks. When there was a barrage, there's like a barrage of fireworks, and they take a few minutes, and then they start again. So when I started hearing the barrage of fireworks, I'd go outside, look at the fireworks, come back inside, work, and it was a cycle that I did for a couple hours. And you'd think that working in the garage at night would be just so much better than working in the day. It is no different. It is just as hot working at night out here in Vegas in your garage than it is working during the day. Ping G says, I would use the time away mode just to be on the safe side. Yvette Clay says, hurricanes are bad for Texas. Be safe. It's bad for anyone. I wouldn't want to be involved anywhere near a hurricane. eBay Grind Grandma says, eBay should do what Poshmark does, only you see the feedback and nobody else. I agree. I agree. It's like a public shaming, right? Public shaming, maybe show the score. So this seller, and eBay does do that when they're looking at the results of a search. They do see this seller has a 98.5% feedback rating. Okay, that's fine. Do they really need to see all the photos these people? I mean, eBay is like not only allowing buyers to leave crazy feedback when they went from 80 characters to 500, they're now allowing them to show photos. And it's like, why? Why does it have to be a big public shaming? Wouldn't it, isn't it enough just to say this seller has 97% positive feedback and let that just be enough? But it makes you wonder, are they going to add videos next? What is it? Why does eBay have to go that far with the feedback as it is? Mike Gertis says, yeah, definitely 30% feedback being left. So I guess that's the consensus, about 30%. 3 out of 10 of your buyers are leaving feedback. The other 7 are not. And I'm good with that. Diamond Roy says, I won't be doing any more sourcing until my next big sourcing trip in Mount Dora, Florida on July 20th. So that sounds exciting. So yeah, do your sourcing on your trips, on your vacations, to justify, and I'm not a CPA, but justify writing those trips off. I know that Josh Galt made a little short. He was in front of a Goodwill in South Lake Tahoe, and I don't even know if he went in the thing, but he said, yeah, I'm here. This is the purpose of my trip, to the source in California. And he winked at the camera, right? It's like, okay, people do that. Duncan VR says there should be a limit on how many negs a buyer can leave. Maybe a ratio, right? How many times you look at the negative or the feedback left from buyers and it's just red, and rarely do you see green. That's a pattern. That should be concerning to eBay, that you have buyers that are always complaining about something to the point where they'll leave a negative feedback. And again, I've always thought that eBay, and I believe eBay did something like this, where the buyer went to go leave negative feedback and a pop-up comes up that says, you can come back and leave your negative feedback in a week, but before you do, reach out to the seller and see if you can work it out with them or consider opening a return. And I believe they did something like that, but I don't know if it's there anymore. And because I'm not a buyer, I don't have opportunities to see that pop up. And I don't know how many buyers out there who've actually sell as well that are watching. But if you've opened a return on eBay, or not a return, but if you have an opportunity to leave negative feedback on eBay, does it give you that message saying, hey, work it out with the seller before you leave the negative? Because I know at one time it used to. Ken Daigle says feedback removal is becoming a thing of the past. Yeah, and I don't even know why they came out and had this big old, hubbub about, oh yeah, we're going to have 12 different things that we're going to consider to remove when you dispute negative feedback. And yet it's just as hard to get it removed. And they're looking at metrics that we're not even aware of that they're looking at. It just shouldn't be that way. Ryan Resells Infinity says, hello, guys. Good evening. Thanks for being here, Ryan. Nice to see you. The Texas Bandit says 20 years ago it was great. Sellers and buyers conducted business in tandem. eBay took their cut and tried to keep the servers running. Now there are 27 layers of insulation. Feedback is pointless. Yeah, 20 years ago, it had its problems, though, too. It was the wild, wild west. I didn't really like the whole thing of sellers leaving the retaliatory feedback. I didn't like the fact that we didn't have the technology that we do today. We couldn't get payments automated. It was like you have to go out and wait for a cashier's check or a check to be mailed to you. And it was a very slow turnaround. So I'd sell an item and I'd be sitting on that item for like a week or two, waiting for that item or that payment to come to me in the mail. And it was just more frustrating as a seller then than it is now. Larry Way Out says, happy Saturday, John. Well, happy Friday to you. Mohammed Yasir Ams says, hi, sir. Can you please confirm about eBay counterfeit items? Well, what do you want to know? I know that eBay's against it. I know that if you go over to eBay Main Street, you can go there and there's a lot of information. It's under ebaymainstreet.com, and you can get a lot more information than what I can provide you. But it's always been a rampant problem. People either unknowingly come across counterfeits or they knowingly sell counterfeits, and it's caused eBay to create things like the authentication programs that they have. So if it wasn't that bad, if it wasn't that rampant, eBay wouldn't have programs that require you with tennis shoes to send in the shoes that are over $75, I believe, into eBay so that they can make sure it's not counterfeit. So there's a lot there, and your question is pretty vague. I mean, if you have a specific question about it, I'll be glad to answer it. But it has been a big thing, and unfortunately, for the buyer, there's not an authentication process for everything that's being sold, and that would be a mess if there was. Tommy Z says, "Thanks for the live, John." Well, thanks for being here, Tommy. Nice to see you. Larry Way Out says, "For Archie, hi Archie and Duncan." Now, for Duncan, it's a happy Saturday. For me, it is a Friday that I still have a bunch of things to do today. I'm going to get a lot of work done this evening. Duncan VR says 235 last night, now at 210. Looks like packing orders is Saturday morning, now 8:30 a.m. So you got a lot of work to do. You know, a lot of people dislike shipping, and I'm not the biggest fan of shipping. Jenna was gone, has been gone, and I've been doing the shipping because it's kind of a time suck. You're not getting any more listings up. You're not doing anything to advance the business, but it's residual work from making the sale. So it has to get done. And, you know, it's just one of those tasks that I'm not a huge fan of, but I know it's just a necessary evil. And if you're not doing shipping, then you're not doing everything else right. So it just comes with the territory. Major Win says, when it comes to feedback, we should be allowed 3 automatic negative feedback removals per 90-day period. And then beyond that, the negatives stick for 6 months. I agree with that. What I think is wrong, though, if you look at your negative feedback, it will tell you that you have, because eBay will say, hey, we can't remove the negative feedback. Reach out to the buyer, ask for a revision, right? But they only give you so many revisions a year. They only give you 5 feedback revisions per 1,000 feedback received in the last 12 months. So for me, it's saying feedback revision requests available 2. So I've used 3 already over this last year. And because buyers aren't leaving, but 30% of the buyers are leaving feedback, it's hampering that score. So I'm only maybe seeing 1,000 feedback in a year left for me. So it's only given me 5 feedback revisions. And I think feedback revisions are a joke in the sense that buyers don't look at their messages the way we do as sellers. So you got to really get lucky that a buyer is going to even see that to have feedback even considered if they're willing to do it. Jovial says, thanks for the invite, but I have a face for radio. That's horrible. Not saying that your face is horrible. I'm saying that the idea that you'd say that is horrible because you know what? Ain't nothing to look at here. Just saying. But we're out here in front of the camera, and you know, I feel like today that I'm not necessarily on my game right now, just because I feel kind of flustered in the fact that it's been go for the last few days. Even with Jenna not here, I'm just running around. I had solid 8 packages to ship today, and it took me a solid little over an hour to get that done with the larger items. A lot of these boxes are jacked, guys, that I have to ship. They're really destroyed. I don't know what happens when someone buys an item from Amazon. They get it, they look at it, they try it, they put it back in the box, and then I guess they like maybe punch the box or do whatever. They take their anger out on the box because by the time it gets to me in liquidation, it's horrible. And I have to use the paper tape, have to use all these different things to just make the box presentable for FedEx. And by the time it's all said and done, 8 items will take me a solid hour to ship. Major Win says I was in an earlier part of the show. LOL. You were. Chastity says, I've been off all week from the full-time job. I have sourced and listed all week. Sales were amazing today. Didn't look as good, but got 2 sales an hour ago. So yeah, I think all of us are suffering from the for me it was pre on Wednesday, during and post holiday slowdown where people just weren't looking at their phone. They're out and about having a good time, and sales should kick back up here this weekend. So don't give up, keep listing. And as you said, you got 2 sales in an hour. So it looks like it's back on for you. Let's see. Dark Horse needs a scale and a small table. Well, I would recommend the Rollo scale. They're like $40 on Amazon, and they're better than any scale that I've used. We actually have 3. I have one in my garage. Jenna has one in her shipping room, and I have one in here, so that maybe if I have the item in here, like smaller items, if I've already done the photos, I have the items in here, I can do the weighing in here and process it that way. Dark Horses, I should probably spring for that this weekend since Mom covered my fans. All right. I'm glad you didn't say only in there. eBay Grind Grandma says, I don't do the sales for very long because it messes up my end listing and sell similar. Yeah, the thing with sales, though, when you introduce a new item, now you have to select this in your markdown sale, but new items can actually be integrated into your existing markdown sales. And when you end an item and you sell similar or relist it, it becomes a new item in the eyes of the markdown sale because there's a new item number attached to it. And within a few hours, your markdown should take effect on that new listing. So maybe it's the way you have your markdown sale set up, but go in there and set it up to the box you check that says I'll add new items as you list them. And that should fix that problem. Duncan says it's a nice 12 Celsius here on and off rain. I don't know what the conversion is. See, we deal with Fahrenheit, and that would be 53.6 Fahrenheit. And that to me would be awesome. You are actually at half the temperature that we are at right now, actually a little less than half. eBay Grind Grandma has 850 items in her store. Awesome. There's nothing wrong. And I don't know what the optimal number is. What do you guys think the optimal number of items would be for just a regular eBay seller? I know that I'm well below what is probably optimal, but and I kind of look at this also in the eyes of not just what us sellers think, but what does eBay think? In the eyes of eBay, what is the optimal size store for just a regular everyday seller? But I think that you're doing just fine with 850 there. Talon Fisher says, what advice do you have for sourcing bulk items? Well, if you're sourcing bulk items, there's 2 ways to source bulk items, either online or in person. And we have Mr. Bearded Picker is going to join us. So again, if you guys want to join us, there's a link in the chat. Come on and hang out with us. But to answer your question, what advice do you have for sourcing bulk items? If you're buying online, make sure that there's a manifest. And if there's not a manifest, to see everything that's in that, let's say, liquidation pallet, have a very, very good eye and make sure that there's a lot of information through pictures that you can glean that information from. If you're buying them in person, then that's even better because you now have more access to those items. And, take your time, make sure that those items do have previous solds, and make sure you're buying good and figure out, maybe use my 40-40 method. So that 40-40 method means if you're buying, let's say the advertise is going to be a $5,000 lot, you need to be into that for no more than 40%. And that's just the way I do it. And that's $2,000. Now, no, actually, I take that back. The 40% that you should be making, and then 40% of that is what you should be into it for. So that's only $800. So I apologize. So if it's $5,000 MSRP, you shouldn't be spending more than $800 on that. Hey, do you have your microphone hooked up?
Oh yeah.
It's really loud.
Ah,
It's super sensitive.
that's
Big
weird. I hadn't changed it. It's the same as the show and everything else.
That's strange. Or maybe it's me. I'm not sensitive enough. Big Dre says, hello, John in chat. Sales have been good. I'm at $6,845, 90 day total, which for me is a new record. I'm picking some orders right now. I'm going to source on the weekend. That's awesome to hear. Well, if your sales are moving up, just keep moving up. Keep doing the things that are doing well and eliminate the things that are not. So, Beard, you had a flat tire, huh?
So there's a screw in the tire, and of course it's in the last tread. And what do they tell you every time it's in the last tread? It's too close to the sidewall. We're gonna have to replace the tire. So I've got to go back whenever they. And of course they don't have my size. They have to order it. So yeah.
So how did you deal with that? Did they put something in the tire or what?
Oh, they put the tire back on with the screw in it, and I'm just driving around with the screw in it.
Ah, okay. So how are your sales? Did you have a slowdown over?
Yeah, but it's all my fault. Remember, I had 3 days where I didn't do much of anything.
Right. How's Joni doing?
She's back to being irritating as usual, so must be fine.
Did you get her bell?
Hey, they didn't come. Whatever John said he sent has not got here yet.
That's awesome.
But I've kind of been in a funk ever since all that happened, and with the holiday, I hadn't put a lot of effort in, so I've slowed down some. But
I can imagine. I mean, that's we talk about things that happen in life that throw a curveball at you and totally disrupt what you're trying to do, right?
And I find it very difficult when I'm in a groove and get something like that happens. It takes me a few days to get back to it.
So on the topic here, what do you think about this automatic positive feedback for eBay sellers? It's in the UK for sellers with 10 or less feedback if the buyer hasn't left feedback in 7 days after receiving the item. What do you think of that?
I think maybe they should do it 30 days, and once they've cleared the return period, then you don't have any concerns about, because the first thing eBay's causing themselves problems by, if I've got a 30-day return period and they automatically leave feedback at 7 days, and in 14 days this customer's mad as hell, wants to return it.
Yep.
That'd be my only concern. Other than that, I think most people just don't take the time to. I do automatic feedback, and I very rarely leave feedback the other way. I've had 2 people this week say, hey, you bought this, could you leave us feedback? And I still hadn't done it.
Yeah, because it's a pain in the butt,
Mm-hmm.
But what eBay also, one thing I didn't say at the beginning of the program is that if a buyer, and this again is only in the UK right now, but if eBay leaves feedback on behalf of the buyer still has that 60-day window where they can go in and leave their own feedback that'll override the positive. So you might think, oh, great, I got a positive, I don't have to worry. But
Right.
That buyer has the option to come back in and leave a negative if they want to.
I think that'll solve some of their problems, but I don't have a problem with it. I just think they're open, and the feedback doesn't matter that much anymore for the most part, unless you're brand new. Nobody cares about it.
Yeah. And yeah, the number, I mean, what difference does it make if you have 10,000 versus 5,000 feedback? The number that would more than likely matter is your percentage more than anything else.
Amazon's proven that they have feedback, but nobody ever leaves it. I mean, you maybe get 1% feedback left over there, and nobody cares.
Yeah.
Especially if you do FBA. I mean, you're just going to get Amazon service anyway.
I think the feedback that matters more over there is the actual product review, right? So the feedback for the product, not necessarily
the product review. So people, that's way more important, because people want to know, because a lot of times, you're buying a brand that's something, a private label or whatever. So you're counting on other reviews.
So DM Ephemera says negative feedback removal should consider how many negatives buyer has left prior. So if you have and I think that they should look deeper into these. If you have a feedback removal request and you even maybe make reference, hey, this buyer, all they do is leave negatives and it's always the same pattern, they should consider that. But I don't know if you heard me talk about this on the Monday's live, but they are using, when you submit a feedback removal request, they are actually using the other detailed seller ratings, where you get the 5 stars, the 4 different
Right.
seller.
I heard that.
Yeah, they're using that to determine, even if it's clear cut, they said things that they normally would take off without any problems. They're looking at that before they make that decision.
See, Jovio, you just learn all kinds of things. I made my own ringtones. You see the bottom one, right? When Five Finger Death Part starts screaming in the stores, people look around like, huh?
What's that for?
That's my ringtone on my phone. That's that's a song from Five Finger Death Punch in 2019.
No, but don't you assign ringtones to different people?
No, that's just the main one.
Oh, okay. Silverhair says, just scheduled time away starting at midnight. See y'all in 2 weeks after a Viking cruise on the Rhine River. That is awesome. That is absolutely awesome. Hopefully you guys take a lot of pictures, more than just your hands, and share them with us on either your show or bring them over to Beard's show and show us how it went. Kent Daigle, upside down pineapple time. What does that mean? What does that mean to you?
I don't know. Are you been a swinger?
I'm not a swinger. Yvette Clay says, I've been sick the whole month of June. Shingles is horrible. Not able to list, but just going through my listings and changing things and fixing prices seem to get me okay sales. And it will, because you consider the items that are sitting in your store, they have demand and they continue to sit. There's got to be a reason. And the fact that you're getting in there and investigating and finding out what's going on, and a lot of times it will be your prices. Do you ever do that, Beard? Do you ever get in there and just, you know what, I'm not going to list today. I'm going to get in and find out why these items aren't selling and make adjustments?
Yeah, I'll look at everything from promoted to titles because you can go back and look and see how many of those have sold since you listed yours, because you can get a general idea and see what's different about them. Most time it is price, but it could be, you really want to search and find out where do you show up in search. That's a tremendous. Take an hour, sit down and search something. Go in incognito mode, go to another browser, go to something, and then if you use Google, go to Firefox, or I've got Safari. It's really a good thing to see where you rank, and it'll tell you why you're not getting sales for the most part.
Now, I didn't know this. Diamond Roy says Amazon has a video feature. I would assume they do have picture, but I didn't know they had a video feature on their feedback. I've had a buyer leave positive feedback with pictures. But I thought that was more for the actual product, where they can leave a video, the video review, not the seller, right?
I have to take this bowl before she drives me nuts because she thinks there's food left in it.
Larry Way Out says, just came back 9 days of vacation. Store was in time away, sold 58 items. Today, no time away, and have sold 24 items. No negative effect. It affects everyone a little differently, I guess. I just have not had a good experience with it the one time that I used it. And for me, just daily adjusting my handling time just works for me. And that way, the day that I go on vacation, I might have 5 days set for my handling. It gives the buyer a range of dates they're going to receive the item based on that handling time. We have Absolute Fine says, question, any yard sales in your area? Yard sale treasure map here has very few. How's your yard sales looking for tomorrow?
We had 6 today, 7 today. I only bought stuff at 1. I did decent there. So I find that Yard Sale Treasure Map usually has about half of them. Make sure you're checking Facebook Marketplace. Make sure you're checking Facebook groups for your area, because we have a good one here that she posts everything that she sees, including estate sales and things. So that's really nice. But today I picked up a ping putter for $5, and I picked up it's a little older. It's got the insert in it. And I picked up an R11S, a TaylorMade R11S.
Driver.
$5.
That works. That'll sell good. You might get $75 for it.
Yeah, that looks like it's selling from 79 to 120 somewhere.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the shaft or anything. I just I said, what you want for this? He goes, $5. I'm like,
That's awesome. Yeah, and I noticed that golf clubs kind of slowed down for me as we got into the summer. I mean, they'll continue to sell through all year round, really, but it seems like golf clubs kind of fall off a little bit in the late fall into the winter, and it makes sense. There's a lot of people that are snowed in or have bad weather and just don't go. For me, yard sales, I have 12 in the Vegas Valley, and I'd say about half, like you said, about half the people don't even use this app. So maybe 24. But do I want to be out?
Where does it pull from anymore? Is it still pull from Craigslist? Where does it even pull from?
TLSR? I think they say TLSR.
No, GSLR, garage sale. I mean, we don't have anything new for tomorrow. It's still showing the same one. So
it's supposed to be 118 degrees on Sunday, and tomorrow is going to be a little like 115. I don't want to be out in that. And when it starts getting hot is like 5 a.m. because it's already like 90 degrees overnight. So I don't know if I want to get caught out and all that. For me, if my sourcing wasn't as good as it is right now, I mean, I don't have any room to put. I have a carload of stuff from a pallet that I haven't even unloaded in my garage because I have to make room for it. The idea of me going out on Saturday and getting stuff at the yard sale to add to that, it's probably going to be a while before I go back to another yard sale, as long as my sourcing is good. If it starts to fall off a little bit, then I know that I have a go-to way of getting merchandise through the yard sale. But
I mean, I don't need the merchandise. I just go because I like to go.
I like to go when it's not hot, when it's not like when you're enjoying yourself. Weather's in like the mid 70s, 80s. It's there's nothing like being outside doing that stuff. But when it's hot, it's like, no, I don't want to be out here. Major wins is sadly one thing we also see in home health and hospice. You have to account for the lonely factor. Many people self-train that the only way to get attention is through negativity. That's why we always include a note. It sets the expectation. If seller cares about me for the buyer, really does make a difference, and is preemptive positivity maneuver. Yes, it sets a good tone. It does everything that you said it does, and it makes you look really good in the eyes of the buyer. And maybe a reminder that instead of being quick to leave a negative feedback, they're going to reach out to you or try to at least resolve it through you before they leave a negative. Do you do anything like that, Beard? No, I don't. It is a good thing to do, I guess. But for just weird to open up a toilet seat and throw a card in there. I don't know. Maybe they're like, hey, this isn't new. I found this card in there. I don't know. I don't want to mess with that kind of thing. Now, if you're a seller of like clothing, shoes, I could see you, folding it all nicely and then throwing a little card in there. I know a lot of people number of sellers that do that. DJ 310 SoCal says, I put up authentic autograph, $25,000 or best offer. Some reported as counterfeit. I appealed, but no resistance from eBay yet. 3 days now. How do I fight this? It was signed to me and was signed on video. Well, there's a lot of people who don't like to do this, but I like to put the video in the listing when I have it. So like if it's a functional thing, but if in this particular case, you don't have a certificate of authenticity, you have proof of someone signing it, then that is what I would have done from the beginning. But if they've already taken it down because of a counterfeit, your only way to appeal is to contact the dispute department at eBay and make your case. But a lot of this is being handled by AI. I've noticed that I had a bureau that said I had a stock photo when the main photo was just my photo with the white background. And then I had to take out that photo, my own photo. I had the actual the same photo with the dark background. I put in its place and it accepted that. So maybe you have to get past the AI and get someone to look at it. What do you think, Beard?
My problem with these platforms is they treat you. We are still in the United States. Most of us are still in the USA. You're innocent until proven guilty. Except on these platforms, you're guilty till you prove yourself innocent, and it's irritating because Okay, so I have some. I told you about some underwear. A lady said, I didn't like the way they feel. They didn't kind of feel right. I think they were counterfeit. I can't sell that size of that thing until I've proved it with invoices that I'm not selling. Who counterfeits Hanes underwear, for God's sakes? It's not high up on the list of things that are counterfeited. But
And you would think that AI would be programmed to say, look, there's certain items that are worth counterfeiting, and there's certain items that you shouldn't even consider, like underwear, right? So if you see these patterns for these high-end items, flag them. But if you're looking at someone's, underwear,
I mean, I understand Maybelline and the makeups that they are highly counterfeited, and I understand like purses and clothing and collectibles. But do we live in a world where they counterfeit underwear? Is that a thing?
and Hanes, wouldn't you counterfeit like Calvin? Oh, what is the high end? I don't wear high end underwear, guys. Just putting it out there. TMI action right now, letting you guys know. I'm not into the high end underwear. So, what are some high end underwear brands that would be counterfeitable? Those are the ones
like Duluth Trading, where it's like $28-$30 a pair for men.
Yeah. So flag those brands and leave it's like counterfeiting a $1 bill. Who would ever consider doing that?
Counterfeiting is big business. Yeah, right.
Videos for Life says, what are your thoughts on eBay auctions? I see some people doing auctions only for things I sell, and they seem like they sell a lot. Is it worth doing them for a lot of items? Now, you don't mess with auctions, right?
I do not, unless there's something that I'm not sure of the value, and I will throw it up there. But I'll put a minimum on it to make sure I'm happy with, because that's the problem with auctions is you don't know what you're going to get, and you open yourself. Generally, the lowest you can go look at solds, the lowest price taken is usually on an auction, which is
you're going to get about 20% less than as compared to a buy it now listing. From sourcing, I see a lot of auctions that maybe show that it sold for 100 instead of like 120, 130. And that tells me I know I can sell my buy it now same item for a little bit more than what the auction sold for. Now I know there's a lot of people who believe that, let's say you have an item that historically sells for $20. Let's say your buy cost is $1 on that. You could set it for like $17, $18, $99 as your starting price, hoping that not only at the end of the auction will someone bid on it, but someone else is looking at it and they'll have a little bidding war and bid it up beyond that. That's a strategy that a lot of people use. The problem with that is you only get it auctions for up to 7 days, and you're constantly, relisting your items. You have that insertion fee for auctions that you don't have for fixed price listings, and it's not a strategy that I employ. And just like Beard says, if it's you have something that you pull up and there's no comps for it, you think, wow, we've got a one of a kind, pretty rare thing here. You set it at the cost of, or the price that you're comfortable accepting if it sells at that minimum price. And hopefully it is rare and it gets bid up. But for me, I don't come across a lot of items like that. I come across a lot of just common stuff. Ken Daigle is making some very serious accusations, and I don't represent those comments. Major Win says, who is Scott Zilke? Is the beard gone? What is happening? He is the trim beard. He is not the unkept beard.
Yeah. I was just had to be on his browser because that's where the email was.
Mike Gertis says, I'm heading out of town for a week next Thursday, bringing all my smalls with me and not doing vacation mode. Last year killed me. Let's see what eBay does, knowing I'm in a different state. So you're taking with you all your inventory? That to me would be somewhat difficult. But if you have, let's say, a box of postcards, I guess.
I've always thought that would be a good idea if you opened a second store or you could do some traveling. eBay would be a little more difficult than Amazon because you could just send it in. But if you could, I swear you could live on the road or a motorhome or something, like the one John has. It's got the under the bay storage. and you could use one of them bins and only buy small stuff. You could do there's so much jewelry, camera. Just think about everything that's small. You could even do parts and just throw the big things away. You know what I mean? The small parts of things that are highly sought after. I think that would be very interesting. I think you could, because you wouldn't need, but you only need a couple size boxes. You wouldn't need a ton.
Texas Bandit says, do you sell yourself and your store in the feedback? I use it as a billboard. I point out my buy four, get one free every post left, a chance to toot your own horn. What do you think about that? Do you think that would work?
I think Phil's crazy. The heat in Houston is getting the feel. That's what I think.
Todd says, sales are good here. $400 today, banger for a part-timer like me. Yeah, you do great, Todd.
So Ken, no one design. Is that Ken?
Yeah, is he here?
So he said he thinks that he's already been done traveling eBay sellers. I think, but I'm telling you, that's a wonderful. I'm telling you, you can make. I think combining van life and reselling. I think those are two YouTube groups because that's the one thing these people that live in RVs and stuff on the road, either you sell your soul to the YouTube and hope that you can make it. But if you had a second income, I'm telling you, I think you could do a really good YouTube channel doing both.
Jacqueline B says, just got this from eBay as of July 29th. Puerto Rico will be included. I don't know what that means. Is that are you talking about the positive feedback for eBay sellers under 10 feedback, or is this something else? I didn't see her post anything else other than this, so I don't know what that means. Let's see. Koisas online says, so I don't feel too badly now. I let my coupons lapse on June 30th and sales dropped like a rock. Figured it out and put them back active on the 2nd, and sales were banging by the 3rd. I have a public coupon that goes from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. Do you use public coupons in your listings?
I need to. That's one thing I haven't done.
Takes like 10 minutes to set up. You can set it up for public or private. I would say you'd want to use the private coupons for like what Major Win does. That little card that says, hey, thank you for your purchase. If you come across any issues, please reach out to us before you consider leaving negative. And if you need to buy again, here's the 10% discount code for your next purchase. I think that would be perfect. And then you have that for your repeat buyers. But I really do believe that as sellers, we have to find ways to get that buyer to the next step. Once they get into our listing, how do you stop them from clicking away, looking for another of the same item, instead buying your item? And that coupon that you have at the top does wonders. It does help.
All right, so I'll give it a shot.
Dark Horse, do you have markdown sales, by the way?
No.
It's a deadly combination. Set your prices a little higher to say 10% markdown sale. So
it's too complicated. My brain doesn't work that way.
Well, if you're going to do $69.99, list it for $75, allow your markdown coupon to kick in, or your markdown sale to kick in, and then you have your coupon in there as well. It just works wonders for me. Let's see, who else do we have here? I'm going to scroll down a little bit. I'm going to cheat a little bit. John that says, I'm at 250 and trying to get to first benchmark of 500. I luckily have been selling as I go consistently, but it feels like I can't break 250. What is your advice, or do you have advice for people who are trying to scale up their store and they're stuck at like 200, 250 a day, and they're trying to increase their daily average in sales? What would you do?
You mean to lie to them and go with the flow, or do you want me to be honest and tell them the truth?
I want your honest opinion.
If you're trying to get to a number of listings, you're doing it absolutely wrong. You've been listening to the wrong people this whole time. If you want to build consistent sales, list sales dollars. If you want to sell 500 a day, you list $500 a day. I don't care how many listings you've got. Do y'all not listen to John when he tells you his store stays in the 200s because he lists to a dollar amount every day? I was talking last night with Buck Mountain Chris, whatever his Buck Mountain Georgia Barn, whatever he is, and and he switched a couple months ago. He's like, my sales are consistent and amazing because I'm constantly putting up a dollar amount. You've got to list to a dollar amount. Forget how many. You can have 100 listings as long as you're listing to a dollar amount every day and are selling, meeting your goals. Because the number of listings don't matter. Go to the bank right now and tell them, did you put up 10 listings and you sold 3 listings? They're just going to look at you like, what?
Yeah. And I list more than 500 actually. So I'm listing somewhere around the $600 to $700 range. So I'm constantly building up the value in my store. And that's what you really want to look at. Stop focusing on the number of listings. I guess it's a benchmark number, right? So when I say, I wouldn't mind getting my store up to 300 to 400 items. Ideally, it's if I'm at $16,000 in merchandise is my total listed value. I really am saying that I'd like to get up to 30,000 plus.
Right. I think we need to start talking that way too. Somebody's got to break the trend. And really start talking about what's the value of the items listed. All these numbers can be manipulated, but you really, because I've got 6,000 pairs of women's underwear. If I want to put them all up there, I can make it look like I've got some monster store.
Yeah.
But I only list 100 at a time. But it's you truly once you understand that it's about sales, and if you're trying to. Nobody says, hey, I sold 3 items today. But I feel like because, and it could be $30 and you're like, damn, $30 is not doing me anything. When you start talking I had sales today of 300, 200, whatever it is. And I listed to that same amount. You'll be amazed. The mindset changes and it triggers something in you that takes you to the next level.
Yeah, and we're guilty as YouTubers. Back in the day, that was the thing, right? We've been talking lately about sell-through rate percentages, and before that, we're talking about ASP or promoted rates. But even before promoted was even a thing, people were talking about how many items did you list today? Well, that's what it is. You need to manage your time better. So instead of listing 50, you can list 100. And people were running around like maniacs, listing as many items as they could, and not considering the value of each of those items and the overall value they're putting into their store. So 100 items may be averaging $10 sale price per item, $1,000, which is cool, but you're putting a lot of work in to get those 100 items listed versus listing the same value with 10 listings.
So the one thing I can tell you about, once you start focusing on the dollar amount listed, it will change your ASP because you will now be focused on the items you're listing, and it will really help you understand, the kind of things you need in order to make your sales goals, and it makes you think completely different. It's very easy to list a lot of items and never understand. Okay, so that model will work. You've got people like James, great Reseller Life, dude's got 60-some thousand listings, and he is a listing machine. Most of you are not that. Most of you do not have the stamina and drive to do that for 23 freaking years to understand that. And so you need to really think about your listings and what you're listing and what dollar amount it is. It'll change the way you look at things. It'll change to what you buy. It's a complete mindset that you've got to turn around and get rid of that. There's no number that's right or wrong to be listed. It's the dollar amount. If you want to sell, Ken had a great one. We list what we sold plus 8,000 more per week, and sales has never dipped, but we're beyond the point where it's a concern. That's a gold tip. Turn the camera on, Ken. Come see us.
You can gross 5 to 6K a month with 100 active items. Yes, you can.
Absolutely.
With 200, so you can certainly do half of those numbers. It's all about your ASP. What is your average sale price on your items? If you start looking for the $40, $50, $60, $70 items rather than limiting yourself to the $5, $10, $15, $20 items, I promise you're going to see an uptick in the money you're making, provided it's good stuff. If it's stuff no one wants, it's going to be tougher to do that. Mike Curtis, boom, got my first new listing up today. I didn't start listing yesterday until like 9 o'clock at night. And we had some sales.
But find some ways to do this. So So here's a great example. So y'all know I went to Costco because I'm sitting there for an hour with this tire. Before I left, I took pictures of. I listed 6 pairs of boots, and I had listed one of them, and I'm like, dude, I'd taken all of them. So I carried the extra phone with me, the backup phone, and I sat there, while they're doing whatever they do to tell me they have to order a tire, and I got those listings up, and I had some other pictures that I had not finished, and I was able to sit there and work through eBay in time that would have normally been wasted. I'd have been wandering through Costco. It kept me from spending money at Costco, which is awesome. But it's, figure out a way to take advantage of all the time. There's no right or wrong time to list.
John Gaynor says, hi, John. I would like to see where eBay just sees the feedback, and that way they would contact the problem seller and then get their act together or they're gone. Your thoughts? I would like to just see a number, like a percentage, rather than allowing them to write a novel. They changed it from 80 characters to 500 characters. Then they added pictures. It's like, why do we need a whole storybook with pictures to represent what the buyer experienced?
You know how you can fix feedback?
Was that?
You know how you can fix feedback? They're not allowed to leave feedback until they contact the seller and allow the seller 24 hours to resolve their issue. That would fix it. You know how many negatives I would get if they reached out and I was able to do my own customer service and take care of this customer? I wouldn't get any negatives.
Right. It should never be the first option they give the buyer. They should, eBay is they always tell you this when you call, and many of you may not even ever spoke to a rep before, but when you call eBay, they are good at telling you, why don't you reach out to the buyer? Well, that's probably what they should tell the buyer. Reach out to your seller, allow them the opportunity to solve the problem. And if they're not willing to or able to solve the problem, then at that time, leave your negative feedback.
Because I try to go above and beyond. So I sold 4 of an item last week, and one of them came loose and leaked out like a third of the bottle. It was in, I sent it like I was supposed to. It was in a bag, so nothing else got affected. And they were able to rinse it off and use the rest of it. And I said, show me the picture of how much you lost. And he said, it was just this one. I just gave him a refund for that whole one. I get it back. I get messages back saying, that's way too much. You didn't have to do that. I'm like, I'm sorry that happened. You have a nice 4. That's it.
Right.
I go above and beyond. I make sure the customers, it's just the way I believe. If something's happened that could have been, I should have taped those nozzles down. I didn't. That was my own damn fault. So I went ahead and made him whole on one whole bottle. He got extra now, or she, whoever, carry on.
I would rather receive a negative feedback when it's, I guess, I've done everything I can. I've interacted with the buyer, and for whatever reason, they feel like I didn't meet their expectations, rather than someone just leaving a negative feedback without giving me a chance to help, right? Because I'm pretty confident in my ability to avoid a negative feedback by simply, through all the different things at my disposal, through returns, through, I screwed up. I sent you the red one and not the blue one. You know what? Don't even send it back. I'll send you the blue one, right? You have options, but if the buyer does never contact you and this leaves a negative feedback, even if you reach out to the buyer, there's a chance they're not going to respond to you. So there's got to be, eBay's got to do a better job of educating these buyers on, here's how, if you have a problem, you're going to get a lot further by working with the seller than just leaving a negative feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Mad Scientist says, the only time I don't leave feedback is if I'm not happy and just want to leave a negative feedback.
Man, I just don't leave negative feedback. The karma, and you've got to really make me mad to make me leave a negative feedback, and it rarely happens.
Yeah. And I try to avoid leaving a negative feedback for sellers because I do reach out to the seller, and when on the rare occasion I buy on eBay, I do reach out to the seller if there's a problem and we work it out, right? But if they get nasty or defensive, or they don't want to own the problem, they want to blame me for, there's only been one time. That's when I bought that paper tape machine, and they were just totally, they used one packing peanut. The machine was literally like thrown back and forth inside the box, and it's no surprise there's a piece broken, and but even that, they didn't include all the parts. They advertise it as a completely working unit, and they didn't even have the on the paper tape machine, that black cap on the white reservoir. If it's not there, that water is going to go gushing out. It's useless.
Yeah.
You can't use the machine without it, and they wanted to, tell me that it's fine. No, it's not fine. You can't use it. So I gave that seller every opportunity to solve the problem. And I even opened a return eventually, and they waited until the very last minute to do anything with that return. It just absolutely frustrating, but I gave that seller a chance. John Mazda says, simple solution is they should give the buyer the option of selecting automatic feedback like they give us sellers. But I don't know if that's going to solve it. Because see, that what that does is if you give the buyer the option of selecting automatic feedback, and that feedback is left, and then you finally look at what you bought and realize it's not correct, and you reached out to the seller and they're non-responsive, do they give you the option to go back and revise it? I don't think so in its current form. If you leave a positive feedback, that's locked in right now, right? Mad Scientist, all this means is I want to leave a negative feedback when I'm not happy so that they don't get a positive feedback instead of just leaving it. Texas Bandit says, how effed is this? We're excited to announce the expansion of eBay international shipping. As of July 29, 2024, Puerto Rico will be included under the growing reach of the program. Yes, I did talk about that on a previous live. They actually are expanding international shipping not only to Puerto Rico, but they're expanding it to Hawaii and Alaska, even though they're not international. And Puerto Rico is not international either, but it's now a situation, because look, if I sell one of these toilet seats to Alaska, I have to exclude Alaska right now, or Hawaii, because it's going to cost me every bit of $90 to ship this from Vegas to Hawaii. And so if I have 67 free shipping, that's a loss. So I'm not going to open myself up to a loss. Now, if I wanted to, I could opt into EIS, and now it's going to be shipped to Illinois for about $20. And now it's on eBay to get it to, of course, the buyer is going to be paying that extra charge to get it to ship to Hawaii, but that's on eBay now. So it's something I might consider. I might consider opening it up.
Puerto Rico is not that big. With ground advantage going to Puerto Rico, it's not that big a deal anymore. For me, on this side of the country, so Hawaii might not be as bad. Alaska might not be as bad for you, but Puerto Rico is fairly inexpensive being on this side of the country.
Yeah, it's never a good option. I just basically exclude all those locations. So now maybe if you're hesitant or have been hesitant to ship to those locations because of the cost of shipping, at least it gives the buyer the opportunity if they're willing. And now I notice a lot of times in the past when I had an item that I was shipping to Puerto Rico, or I didn't ship to Puerto Rico, someone would reach out and say, how much does it cost to ship to Puerto Rico? And I tell them, and I never hear back. They didn't want to pay that amount. Let's see. Texas Bandit isn't PR part of the USA, and I ship there regularly. Yes, but it's more expensive, and some people exclude those locations.
Well, I also sell smaller items too, so it makes a big difference whether you're selling big items or small items.
Yes. Toilet seats going to be tough to ship without the buyer kicking a little bit more money. John Rad Relic, share pictures of your hands, but not with your. Okay, wasn't expecting that. Come on. John, why don't you jump on here and chat with us instead of typing in the chat? I've been throwing away hundreds of items that have no sales history. I think that's a good idea. If you have stuff that's maybe you
got to realize too, he buys some. He at one time he was buying everything from auctions, and so he'd end up with a lot of lots, and he was just listing a bunch of stuff and to see if it would sell. So he doesn't have a lot of money in some of the stuff he's chunking out.
So Kent's got some money for you.
He wants me to sell him the shoes instead of listing shoes.
Biff Boffo says, ideal store size is tough to say. In collectibles, your 10K item store gets 50,000 free listings. That tells me eBay wants a big store in that category. Mike Gerda says, man, the economy must be rough if underwear is counterfeited. Just the logic, and that's that's another example of where eBay doesn't practice common sense.
That's another example where underwear is not easy.
It isn't easy. Mike Gertis ships most of his items in a 4x8 mailer, and that's why he's able to bring his stuff with him on vacation. So that explains it. I'd have to have a trailer. I'd have to have a semi with a trailer to get all my stuff in. Not funny. So just noticed eBay did not opt me into the pass on shipping discounts like the email had said it would. On the opting, you should be able to go into your business policies under your shipping. I think your shipping preferences, and you should be able to opt in if you want that. Red Relic says, what is the sell-through rate of the items listed? Does no good to have 60,000 items listed if you're guessing at the prices of crap that won't sell. I agree. And I really believe that if you have a lot of stuff in your store that won't sell, it's bringing down your entire store. I think it's hurting your other good items. No One Designs is pro tip. We list what we sold plus 8,000 more per week, and sales has never dipped to a point where it's a concern. Very, very good tip. He sells, she sells, says customers keeps begging me for a refund, even though it says delivered claims package was stolen, has zero feedback, told him to open a case, now waiting for eBay's decision, and have blocked him. If it says delivered, it's out of your hands. If they deliver it to the doorstep and someone comes over and grabs it, that's something that's been happening for years called Porch Pirates, that is not your problem. It is the buyer's problem, and they're going to have to take that up with whomever, but it's not your problem. You shouldn't lose money for that. And the fact that you have delivered on your scan, on your tracking, yep, eBay is going to protect you for that. Are you doing your live at 5 or at 8?
Yeah, 7.
That'd be 7 your time, Central, yeah.
Heck yeah, I've already made it.
Yeah, so in about a half an hour, we're going to be going over to Beard's channel.
And it's going to be crazy. We're going to talk about all. I'm not even turning the monetization on. We're going all conspiracies.
Uh-oh. Biff Boffo says it's not a dollar amount listed per day. It's a dollar amount listed per hour. Huge difference in mindset. People can mess around all day. I spend about 20 hours on eBay. I do think you should maximize the time. Look, this is something that I've been struggling with. I'm not the perfect seller on eBay. Yeah, I have a 200 item store. I've sold 520 items in the last 90 days. I think my sell-through rate is excellent when it comes to what I'm selling, but I can do better. Yeah, it does take me 20 to 30 minutes to list one item because of the sheer size and the steps involved in that. But there are times where I'll list a couple items. I'll come in here, watch a YouTube video, take a few minutes, then I'll go back out, right? I don't need to take that time. I need to keep working and maximize the amount of time that I have. I don't know about it, but that distractions really do kill you.
Yeah, I think he's right. I think that's a good way to look at it. Problem for me is when you're juggling eBay and Amazon, and I think the best thing you can do is a time audit and realize where your time goes and where you spend time. You'll be amazed and start cutting things out and really value what you do. Do a time audit for a week.
I agree with that. Not funny. So just received my first negative feedback. Buyer said he didn't realize the size of a toolbox that has measurements on the first photo. Waiting to see if they will revise. I got to tell you, it's going to be a lot to do with the seller ratings they left for you. If they left you 1 star on any of those, don't be disappointed when they come back and say no. Their little blurb saying, we allow the buyer to leave the feedback and give their honest opinion of the transaction. It's going to be a no. So let's hope that they didn't give you bad ratings, and there's a chance. But we've all seen that negative feedback where it's like, I did nothing wrong. I told them there was a scratch on this, and they're complaining that there's a scratch.
That's like the problem is the death of common sense. There's nobody has any responsibility. Whenever in this situation right here, it should be struck down immediately.
I agree with that.
Get a live person to look at it and go, wait a minute, that is on the buyer is shirking the blame to someone else for their own stupidity. And I think I think we're too nice at when we reply back to these feedback. I have to run around the block a couple times because I want to put on there, this stupid MFer didn't look at the first picture with measurements. How did you buy it without looking at the picture, DA? That was what the feedback I want to leave.
Well, what about this one? This is one I received last week. Negative feedback. Canceled payment for the item. It was delivered. What should I do with it? Now, I never received a cancel request. I've never received a message from this buyer in my life. So they thought they had canceled it, and they weren't expecting to receive it. They received it, and what should they do? That sounds like it was more of a comment than a negative feedback. I actually went through the feedback system, got denied. I actually called in and tried to dispute it, and they said, well, hold on. They put me on hold. They came back and said, well, we can't remove this because of the detailed seller ratings that they left.
I got the one last week or week before last where the lady asked for me to cancel it. I canceled it. 30 days later, she leaves me a negative saying, I never received this item so I can send it back. I never received this item so I can send it back. You asked me to cancel it. I canceled it. What the hell?
Right. And that's not removed. It doesn't make sense.
I called it in. They took it down.
But I'm willing to bet they probably didn't mess with those seller ratings. It's just not logical. Why would you even consider the seller ratings if it shouldn't be there in the first place? Jovia says, if Puerto Rico, Hawaii, and Alaska are going to be EIS, wouldn't the items be shipped to the eBay hub and not the buyer's address first? Yes, you're shipping them to Illinois, and then eBay gets it, and then they ship it to the buyer's address, just like EIS. Haas Cartwright. I am a top-rated seller with 100% positive feedback. My sales are horrible. They just want me to promote my items to sell. Yes, they do. That is what eBay wants. I think the people who are resisting the using promoted are going to still make some sales, but not anywhere near what they would normally be able to do. You're going to get organic sales with or without promoted listings, but you're going to miss out on a lot of sales if you don't have promoted listing. You use promoted, right?
Yeah. I promote everything.
Let's see. I think I caught up to most of the comments here. Let's see. No Design says eBay can't use common sense. The legal department won't allow it. We expect common sense. It's just in daily life. And when a company like eBay doesn't exercise common sense, it just makes you crazy. It's what happens when you first turn over processes to AI. Let's hope that AI learns from a lot of these things and it gets better when it comes to like the common sense things. But so far, there's a lot of things that eBay does that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and we just kind of shake our head. So yeah, just got to deal with it. And we complain about eBay and problems on eBay, and this bringing these things up on the live isn't about, here we go again. John's complaining about eBay. It's just about creating awareness. So as sellers, we need to know the obstacles that we're faced with, and that way we're not surprised when we come across them. That's why we bring these things up. We talk about them. My hope is that eBay watches these lives and not only takes my feedback, I'm just one guy, but by reading your feedback and what you like to see with some of these things, eBay would maybe it's naive of me thinking that they actually would consider it. But I think that eBay does want to consider our feedback. And that's why I think these programs are valuable. So let's see. Shopping with Cheryl says, I had a person say I canceled twice for an international shipment that was never ordered, and I didn't even have anything listed, but I removed everything 2 months before eBay left the feedback. They didn't remove it, huh? Well, don't be surprised, and just know that negative feedback doesn't hurt you as much as a lot of people might think, and people get all up in arms and go through this and let it ruin their day. And it's
Folks,
not that.
I'll tell you a story. Life is short. So got a call from my mother. I hadn't heard from her in a week or so, which is not unusual. My mother's crazy. And I mean, really, really crazy. But anyway, and so for those who don't know, we lived diagonally across the street from her for, I don't know, from 2007 until, or was it 7? Yeah, we moved in 4 or 5. So 2006 until 16, so like 10 years. And so the neighbor next to us, I was about my age, or maybe a year older too. I don't, very close. I never knew his exact age. His wife divorced him, but he kept the house, and he lived there. Scott, we're both named Scott. Nice guy, super nice guy. Mother called and says, "Let's walk outside. There's all these police are across the street. There's an ambulance over there." I hadn't seen him in a couple of days. Went to bed 2 nights ago. Never woke up, folks. It doesn't matter what age you are. Some of this stuff, that the little piddly stuff with returns will drive you crazy. It's not really important. Understand that there's way more things in life that you need to take care of other than some knucklehead. I would challenge you that if you're looking back and constantly looking at that kind of stuff, that's not the direction you're going. You're moving forward. Please go forward and concentrate on moving your business forward.
Yes.
And moving your life forward and taking care of the people who are important to you. Some crazy on the internet, they make you mad. Absolutely. Give them 10 seconds and walk away.
I think there's a lot of people out there that look at all the different things that we have to do with reselling, including dealing with customers as a negative. But I would say compare this to what the alternatives are. The alternative is, if you're doing this full time, do you want to do a 9 to 5? Think about all the things that you hate about working a 9 to 5 as compared to what you do right now. And you should feel a lot better about the mundane things, about shipping or dealing with idiot buyers from time to time, people giving you like low ball off. It can be frustrating, but that's because you let it get that frustrating, and you shouldn't let it. You should just understand it's part of the business.
Yep.
And if you're going to be a reseller, you need to deal with, just adapt and deal with it.
You got to fall in love with the process. You've got to, in order to, finding stuff, is we all love it. But if you don't finish the process and fall in love with the listing, the shipping, the selling, and take care of it all to ensure your sales and move your business, you don't get to do the fun stuff. So you've got to figure out a way. And some people, that's hiring people and outsourcing, and others is just, putting in processes in place that really, help regiment that side so that you just get through it. And so, but fall in love with the entire process of reselling. You'd be amazed how much, understanding that until you clear the return period on a sale, that wonderful find that you find is still just a piece of inventory until it clears it.
That's right. And Big Dre says, "Hello, Scott. Speaking of conspiracy theories, a guy jumped on my work truck yesterday telling me all kinds of conspiracy theories. Took a few minutes to get him off of my truck." Well, Beard's going to be driving a big truck apparently in about 20 minutes on his channel here. So make sure that when we're done here, that you guys go over to Bearded Picker's channel.
Yeah,
and
John's supposed to come on, and he's going to explain to you the end times that we're in and his theory on Jerusalem and Trump. And yeah, it's going to be fun.
Brian Barry is late, but here. Thanks for being here, Brian. Thanks for being a member, by the way. Nice to see you. No Designs says nothing is important in life except tacos. But I got to say, on a serious note, Carol C says, my sister's step-grandson, age 13, passed away on Tuesday. He had a seizure while sleeping and swallowed his tongue.
That's hard. That's hard to understand.
Yeah.
Well, I think like that.
I mean, that right there should make you appreciate. I mean, you know what, guys? We woke up this morning. You know what? You may not have woken up to sales, but you know what? We woke up this morning. And you might be having a bad day. Things might not be going your way, but you know what? Things could be worse. I think you just got to look at it for perspective. And I'm not even going to charge you guys for that shrink session there. Just have your bad day. Make it as good as you can, though. Jovial says, tomorrow is never promised. Let it roll off your shoulder and move on with your day. Sal has, looks like he has a question. Do you know some international orders go to the hub and others go to the person directly? Have an order out currently lost, and I likely will be on the hook for it because it didn't go to the hub. If that shouldn't happen, though. Now, I don't sell on eBay International. Do you use eBay International shipping? Interesting. So if anyone knows about that, is that a glitch? Did eBay tell you that was the norm? Because it should go right to eBay. It's eBay's problem at that point. You shouldn't be sending it to the customer. Rad Relics, I love reselling. Love it. I love the idea of reselling. I love the fact that I can stay at home, work for myself. I'm responsive. If I want to make more money, guess what? I need to be out there listing more items and getting more value in my store. I can take time off. I don't have to beg a boss to take time off of work. If something comes up last minute, I can stop what I'm doing and go do it. And there's not going to be a huge impact to my livelihood. And there's so much. Now, I may not enjoy cleaning out someone's old Roomba vacuum cleaner, right? The nastiness that goes along with that. I made a video of that I'm going to be sharing with the members here pretty soon. Some of the stuff that I deal with when I'm dealing with these liquidation lots. But guess what? It's part of the job, and you just have to roll with it. You gotta, to really succeed, I think you gotta learn to love it, because I did not love selling everything until I kind of learned to make it work, and I see the results from my efforts. John also says, I don't have any problems that would make me want to stop reselling. Pot G Grim says, see, that's where I love having faith, man. I believe I'll get to see my loved ones again. Hashtag Jesus, we got here somehow. Yes, sir. I agree with that. Noah Design says, great live, crackhead. Heard the taco thingy, and now I got to get tacos.
I told him that was his fault. He's talking about he heard John's voice saying tacos. I'm like, he blindly reads a comment. He read a comment with a wiener in it a few minutes ago. Come on.
Well, tacos. Get your tacos, free tacos. So hopefully that helps you out there. Let's see. SCG Collectibles. Don't let them lie to you. We all know Jenna is the boss.
You said my microphones real loud.
Tacos.
Yeah, it was loud. It's better now, but it was loud when you first got it. It was like anything you did, I could hear it. I'm like, okay, he's got it like on super sensitive mode. But SCG Collectibles, don't let them lie to you. We know Jenna's the boss only when she wants to be. There's times that, she'll just do her own thing. As long as she gets her things done, she doesn't care what I do. Jenna is not on me like my ex-wife was a pain in the butt. I'll just tell you that right now.
Happy marriage is allowing them to think they're in control while you manipulate them to get what you want. There you go.
Right, that's right. Or she just does what she wants. It's like, as long as I'm not paying attention to her shopping on Amazon, she can get away with it. And, she just makes sure that I
look at it. Shit just shows up. I'm like, whatever. Well, Jody doesn't, but she doesn't go shopping a lot because, she generally doesn't feel like it. So she'll order stuff here. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. So
yeah, I'd much rather her shop from home than, because what happens when you go to Costco or Sam's?
We spend stupid money at Costco.
You go in there for a couple items. I need these things, right? I would buy them online, but whatever. Let's just go. And you end up filling your whole cart, and you spend 3 to 4 times as much as you thought you were going to spend, and things that you really don't need. So I'm glad that she's shopping online and not doing all that. So I think we're kind of at the end of the program. I was hoping that more of you guys would have jumped on. It would have made this into like one of Beard's lives, but I guess not. But thank you, Beard, for being here and kind of help.
Why are y'all so scared to get on? You don't even have to turn the camera on. You can just have the microphone in a little circle. He don't care.
Next time. But, we'll change it up for every once in a while. I did that once before, and the live went pretty well. We had a lot of different perspectives on here. But, guys, negative feedback. eBay's tinkering with it. They're going to continue to do random things with what they feel is best for the business, whether on the buyer side or the seller side. And we just need to know about it. There's not a whole lot you're going to be able to do about it. But understanding that is yet another example of how flipping ain't easy. I want you guys to go over to the Bearded Picker channel in the next 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have some fun. I got to put the link out. We're going to have some fun.
Even though you work, maybe go to work and have it playing in the background. But if you can join us, all the better. So we'll see you there.
Put the kids to bed.
It's a little early for some people. It's only 5 o'clock here on the West Coast. But want you guys to have an excellent weekend, and we will talk to you guys here on Monday. Take care, everybody.
Man, see.